this computer. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So once it compiles everything, again I'll save it into, say this time I'll save it into a Word file. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone, like the MATLAB window screen is visible.
Visible.
Okay.
It's 2:30. Hello.
Now we can start our session.
Yeah. Very good afternoon, everyone. So without any delay, let's start our next session, image processing using MATLAB and importing data from Excel. Over to you, Mr. Jayanangu.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so here you can see like whatever we have did, now MATLAB has saved that file into a Word file. So here we have the figure window also, which we can adjust it. Okay, so you don't have to worry about like how you're going to export the figure. Okay, so whatever we have used, that is all is automatically arranged in Word file. So better I recommend those participants who want to save the images in Word, you better code in LiveScript and you can later on export it into a Word file. Okay, so now we will quickly start the image processing part. So for images processing, what I will do first, I'll going to download some image from Google. Okay, say suppose I download this image, save image as, and I will save into the same directory in which I'm keeping my all files. Now I'll take one more image, say flower. Okay, say I take this flower, save image as flower JPG, fine. Now coming back to the MATLAB window, and here we can see in the working directory, we have two images, Aladdin.jpg and flower.jpg. Okay. Now, first I will do in the terminal to show you how this data are read in MATLAB. So here I create a variable A, which will store the image, and see right now we want to store Aladdin image. So what I'll do, I'll use imread command, which is used for reading the image file. So in imread function, I have to give the address of the image. So because right now I'm in my current directory, which is SIRT Bhopal, so I just have to name the image file. And but if like sometimes what happen that you store the file into some different drive. Okay, so there you have to give the complete address like D drive slash whatever parent folder is there, and inside that what is the name of the image. Okay, so right now because I'm working into my parent directory, so I can directly give the name, say Aladdin.jpg. Okay, so if I hit enter, then MATLAB will show you the result, like how it stores the image. So you can see on the screen, there are a lot of numbers, right? And on the right side, you can see in the workspace that MATLAB shows you that A is a matrix of size 900 number of rows and 1200 number of columns. So 900 number of rows means that it is talking about the height, okay, and 1200 is the width of the image, and into 3 represents that it has 3 number of this 2-dimension matrix. As in the PPT, we have seen that any composite image is made up of 3 layers. So the first layer is a two-dimensional matrix of red layer, and the second one will be green, and the third one will be always the blue. Okay, so like that, it is showing you this thing. And in last, it is written here somewhere UINT. Let if like if it is not visible, I'll use magnifier to show that part. Okay, yeah. So you can see here that the dimension of the A variable is 900 cross 1200 cross 3, and the data type is UINT8. It means unsigned integer of 8-bit data type. Okay, so because images cannot have a value less than 0, the possibility that whatever color it can get is the black, and the black value is always represented by 0. Okay, and the maximum value that any image can acquire is white, that is represented by the perfect white will be 255, and any value in between will be a grayscale image. Okay, so now I'll go to the live editor so that later on I can share the PDF also with all the participants, like whatever code we have done. So image processing, right now we are dealing, and this one will be the heading 3. Okay, yeah. So here I'll do the same thing. A is equal to, yeah, imread. So imread is a command which reads the image from the file, from the image file. So here we are doing the Aladdin image, and I'll put semicolon and say I want to see the each layer information. Okay, so the red layer, say I denote the red layer with the R variable, and so R I will write the code as I have to extract it from the matrix, parent matrix A. So remember, in the first session of the first day we have discussed that how we can extract particular layer or particular child element from the matrix. Okay, so here I want the information of complete row, so I'll use colon sign. Complete column, again I will use colon sign. And in the three-dimensional matrix, I'm only interested in the first layer because the first layer tells information about the red layer. Okay, so similarly I'll do it for the RGB G, and for the B, sorry, and G is equal to, I'll copy this thing and put here 2, and this one B is equal to this 3, and say I want to see the plot also of individual all these things. So what I will do here, I'll create a subplot so that I can show it in a comparison format. So total I need 4 graphs, one for the original image and the other 3 for the individual layer. So 2 cross 2, and in the first quadrant I want to show the real image. So in order to show the output of an image or output of any matrix in image format, we use imshow command. Okay, so imshow a matrix, then Control C. In the second quadrant I will show the red part, so here it will go red, Control C. And here I want to show for the blue, green, this will go under third, and the last is the blue, which I will show in the fourth quadrant. And now I'll run this section. Yeah. So here you can see the numerical values of all this individual matrix. Okay, and you can clearly see the value of R is not equal to the value of G. They are quite different, and so does in the image also. Now I'll take this image out and show it in a full screen mode so that it will be more distinct and more visible to all the participants so that they can see the difference. Now, if we look at the second image, which is this one, okay, so if you compare the jasmine dress, okay, which is blue in color, okay, so it is shown black here. Why? Because there is no red component in the blue, okay, and this monkey dress, like it is more grayish, okay, because it has some red content, okay. Now, if you compare with the Aladdin cap, okay, so the cap is somewhat reddish or dark reddish, so it is in gray, but in the below green and blue layer, it is somewhat looking as complete black, okay. And in the last layer, you can see the whole background because it is more bluish, like purple has more blue content in it. So the background is quite brighter compared to the red and the green part, which you can see here, where the background is more darker in nature. Okay. And because the skin color has more red component in it, so the skin color in the red layer appears to be more brighter compared to the background. Okay. Now, what if I want to find the negative of this image? Okay, so as I told you, the maximum value that any image can attain is the 255 value. Okay, so in order to get the negative of that image, what I will do first, I will convert the parent image into a grayscale image, okay, or black and white image using the RGB to gray function. So say G is equal to RGB to gray, and I'll pass A. So what it will do, it will convert any three-dimensional matrix, okay, which is having all the layer information RGB, okay, into a two-dimensional complete black and white format. Okay, I'll show this result show in G, okay, and say later on, I'll again create a new graph paper with a figure command. And here I say that the negative will be of this image will be 255. When we subtract any scalar from a matrix, the scalar will be subtracted from each individual elements. Okay, so if I write 255 minus G, where G is a two-dimensional matrix, then 255 will be subtracted from each element. Okay, and this result also I can see in a new graph paper. Okay, so now I'm running this piece of code. Okay, so let's see the result. So this is the black and white format. Okay, sorry. So this is the black and white format, and this one is the negative part. So figure command figure fine. I'll put a section breaker here, and now I'll run this code. Okay, so this one you can easily see, like this is the black and white, and this is the negative of that image. As like matrices, we can add or subtract also. Say suppose here I say that what will happen if I add some scalar to it. Say I add 50 unit a scalar point, so it will make the image to move towards more brighter area, that is towards the whitish area. Okay, so if I run this section, you will see that now this black and white image appears to be more brighter in nature. Let me increase with much higher value so that the difference will be clearly visible. Okay, so you can see here that the whole image is appears to be more brighter. So that's why the negative is appears to be more darker in nature. Okay, because it totally depends upon the G. So if I'm changing anything value with this one part, so it will finally affect the low part. So let me remove this one. Okay, and anything if I subtract it from the image, it will make it more darker. So let me run it. So you can see here now the image appears to be more darker in nature. Okay, so let's take the original image only. So this line is unnecessary. Now if I want to see like which pixel is used most of the time, I can go for a histogram plot. Okay, so histogram, yeah, plot histogram over G matrix. Okay, so here you can see in the histogram plot, let me zoom it over the entire screen so that it will be more visible to everyone. So here you can see on the x-axis, you have the value from 0 to 255. Okay, so 255 means the perfect white pixel and 0 means perfect black pixel. So here we have this as a highest number, which is having the value 28,200 times. Okay, and this we get this value at nearly around 50 pixels. So it shows that the gray pixel value having the grayscale 50 is being used many times, and the total time whatever it is used is 28,200. Okay, like summing up all the values, we are getting this much. So yn is equal to 255 minus g. Okay, see, we use that one in order to find the negative of this black and white image. Okay, like if you have seen, like earlier in 1990s, when we go to a studio, they give us a negative also, right? Through which they project the light, and whatever projection falls on a photo sensitive paper, they do the uh, polishing and give us the photo. Okay, so in order to see the negative part, because it is just the negative like of what actually you see, it is just the negative of that. Okay, so that's why we subtract it from the highest value. Okay, so which we know that the highest value is 255. So that's how it gives you the negative of this parent image. Okay, figure. That's why I use n is equal to 255 minus g, so that I know that in G, the maximum value a pixel can attain is 255. So if 255 will be subtracted to 255, it will become black. So white will become black, and any black pixel in G matrix, because 255 minus 0 is 255. So black will become white and white will become black. Okay, so that is the kind of a image transpose operation that we are trying to do here. Okay, with the simple algorithm. Okay. So I hope that doubt is clear why we have done or why we have subtracted 255. Okay. Now, what if I multiply some scalar to an image, what will be its effect? Okay. So say suppose I take the original image and okay, first I'll show you in the black and white format, and then I will go for the on the color image also, like what effect we will going to see. Okay. So imagine here that, okay, whatever G image, I make a new image as new is equal to G multiply by say 1.2. So I'm making every pixel to be increased by 20%. Okay. And im show new. So this I'll put into semicolon so that it won't show the result in matrix format, and run this section. I'll put next time the histogram also in comment so that we don't require and we can easily see the comparison. Control Z. I'll put this one in comment. And imshow pair new comma g comma new, and property I'll going to use montage. So what this does, it will show these two images one after another in a single row strip. Okay, so let me run this one so that I can show you what is the output, so that we can easily see the difference between the two images. So right now MATLAB is processing the IMSHO pair in a montage format. Yeah, so here this is my image, and let me show it on a full screen. So here you can see, so this is the effect of montage. It just aligns all the images one after the another in a row format. So here you can see the right side image is more brighter in nature compared to the left hand side, because we have multiplied it with 1.2, okay, like 20% increment. If the same thing I do with, say, instead of 1.2, I multiply with 2, okay, like 100% increase in their intensity, then this will be the output. So you can see here. So in like we can easily see what is the difference, like if we add or if we multiply. So if we multiply, the contrast will be improved, like the hair will become more darker, okay, compared to the skin color, which will become more brighter. So it will give an overall contrast improvement somewhat. But if you add some scalar, then it will going to add as a mask, as a brighter mask over that image, okay. So now I'll show that effect also. New image is equal to g multiplied by 2, and here I take, say, add image, m is equal to just am, added image is equal to g plus 100, okay. And here I allow it to plot am also, added image, and now I'll run this section. The value method is invalid. Expected method to match one of these values. Def blank checkout. Okay. What? So I'll remove this G part. Yeah. And I'll run this. So new is plotted and AM part is also plotted. Okay. Okay. So here you can see, if you look at towards the background also has somewhat brightness, but in the multiplication, the background still retains its darkness. Okay. And just only the highlighted features have been more enhanced. Now, can we add or superimpose two different images as like what we did in the graph? The answer is yes, we can do that also, but it has to follow some matrix addition rule. And matrix addition rule says that in order to add two different matrices, their dimension should be same. Okay, so now that example we're going to see. Okay, so say suppose I again load that read command Aladdin image, and in A variable, and in B I load flower JPG. Now we have two image, okay. And let's assume that this time I just, without suppression, I run this section so that I can show you like what is the dimension of A image and what is the dimension of B image. So the dimension of A image is 900 cross 1200 cross 3, okay. But the dimension of B is 1500 cross 1500. So B is a square image, but A, the Aladdin image, is a rectangular image. So we have to make sure that their dimension should match. Some participant have asked, same order or 2 cross 3 or 3 cross 2. I didn't get it, like what you exactly means by this, because right now I'm multiplying with a scalar. So scalar doesn't matter whether you multiply 2 cross G or G into 2, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing matrix multiplication. Okay. So now in order to add this, I have to resize the image into a particular dimension, and say suppose I keep the dimension as 1000 by 1000. So I have to use one command which is called imresize. So I will say A is equal to imresize I'll pass that I want to resize A, and then I will give the dimension. So I want to have it in 1,000 row by 1,000 column. That's all. I don't have to give information about the third layer because third layer is obviously 3. So there, I don't want to do any modification. That's all. And similarly, I will update the information of B also. So this one I'll put in suppression, and this one I'll remove. Use the same command, Control C and B. Now I'll run this section, and you will see that both the images now will become the same size. So here you can see A is also having 1,000 cross 1,000, and B is also having 1,000 cross 1,000. Okay, and now I can add these two images. So say I create a C image, which is nothing, just the addition of A plus B image. Okay, and I want to see how this image will look like. So in order to see the image or matrix, yeah. So in order to see the result, I can use the imshow C, and I will run this section. I will suppress these two because I don't want to see the matrix. So here's is my output. I take this output on the screen so that everybody can see. So here you can see now with respect to the flower and another image, now both the image when superimposed, so we can see a cinematographical image, okay, where we can see in flower there is some hidden image of Jasmine and Anandin and his monkey, okay. And now we can control the intensity also. Say suppose I say the intensity of the combined image will be like this: 0.8, that is 80% of A will be contributed, and only 20% of B contribution should be there inside the new image. And I can run this section. So here you can see now we have a different image having 80% content of the Aladdin image and only 20% content of the flower image, which is there in the background. Okay, so like this way we can easily control the intensity. Okay, so this is how we can do the image addition. Now there are some situations, say for those person who want to develop some machine learning or artificial intelligence system uh, for some disease detection or say some plant or agricultural application. So there a section called image segmentation is also required. So what basically image segmentation do? It just filter out the noise. Okay, so noise in case of plant can mean the soil image or the background if it is there like soil, or if we are focusing on the flower part, then the leaf and the stem will act as a noise. Okay, so that we have to remove it. So in order to do the image segmentation, we have to create filters, and MATLAB is very much fast in creating filters and it is very user friendly. And that now I'm going to show you how you can create filters in MATLAB. Okay. So up to this, we have seen like how we can read the image information, how we can do the operation, like increasing the brightness, seeing the histogram. We can also use the imhist. Okay, say suppose if I use imhist, that is another a feature improvement method which we can perform on an image, but this has to be black and white, so it don't require that. Okay, first I'll go through the image segmentation, and then later on we can see around the different methods. So for image segmentation, say I take one class, say a different image I'm going to take. Okay, so I take this image, and here my target is, or say something much better. Flower, not plant, plant image. So my target is to extract the leaf part. Okay, so here I'll take two images. One, this image, I'll download it. Mm, Save image as plant one.jpg, save. And whether it works perfectly or not, I'll use the other image, say this one, an entirely different image. Uh, Save image as plant2. And with the help of plant2, say I make a filter and that will act as a function. And whenever I pass like a different image, it should extract the leaf part and rest it should eliminate. Okay. So that algorithm we are going to check now. So for that, we have to use a MATLAB toolbox, which is called image threshold, which you will find in the image processing and computer vision toolbox. So for that, you have to go into the app category, just expand the app section, and in the image processing and computer vision, you can select the color thresholder app. It will take 1 minute to open, and once it open, I'll show you like what are the further steps involved. Okay, so here is our app. First, like here you can see that all the tools are deactivated. Only one tool is activated, which is load image. So first task will be, we have to load the image on which we want to develop the filter. So see, I select the first option, that is load image from file. Okay. So here I take this plant2 image as a filter making sample. Okay. I'll use this image in order to decide the quality of the filter. So these are different methods of filters. Okay. Like in the PPT, I have shown like this. So actually hue decides the color combination and saturation, like from what intensity to which intensity is moving, and value decides like from darkness to brightness in which direction it is moving. Similarly, like RGB, we already know because we are much familiar with the RGB technique, like how this RGB works. Okay, like some percentage of red color with mixed with the 50% of blue color, then it forms a yellowish part, like that. So these are different techniques in which we can develop colors. Okay. So out of all these things, I have personally observed that HSV, that is called hue saturation variation, work more efficiently than compared to the RGB method. Okay, because we can control the uh, brightness and the edge in this thing part. So here my target is, I have to use it in such a way that only the leaf part will be present and rest all other image should be eliminated. So first what I will do, I'll go to the hue part where there is a color wheel. Okay, and I will put the color wheel in such a way that it will only going to cover the green part. Okay, so here you can see the moment I just set it, MATLAB automatically eliminates. But here, if I show you the binary image, you can see there are some noise, some small pixels. Okay. So the noise can be minimized with a good filtration technique, but 100% noise removal is can be quite hectic. So that noise suppression, we further go with the image segmentation method. Okay, like morphology, we apply morphology over the image in order to suppress the noise. So now with the help of saturation, we can see that if we decrease the value of saturation, okay, or the range part, then we can remove somewhat noise from the image. Okay, and now what is left is entirely the leaf part. Okay, so now I turn off the binary and here's only my leaf part. Okay, or I can use this pseudo selection method also, in which I'll decide like which area I'm considering for the leaf after applying the color wheel. Okay, So this will say that I'm going to discard the other pixels which are lying outside of this polygon, closed polygon, and only the inside part will be treated as the filter. Okay, now whatever manual setting we did, okay, MATLAB gives you a feature in which it will give you a algorithm in terms of function. So I'll export this entire method and make a custom function for myself so that I don't have to write algorithm for other operation also. I'll directly use this function and it will filter out the leaf. Okay, so I'll click on the export function. And now you can see here that MATLAB has created the entire algorithm programming code for you, in which you don't have to write like what should be the value of R, to which range it should be there in order to select the leaf. Okay. So here what I have to do, I have to just rename this MATLAB created function into my custom function, which I can remember. So I'll give it a very user-friendly name, say green filter. Then I'll save this one. Remember, before using function, you have to save it. Okay. So, and make sure whatever name you have given, the same name should be there in the file name when you are saving. Okay. So now it is saved and now it's time for testing. Okay. So imagine that now I want to test on a different image, because the image which we have taken for filter creation, that we are not going to use it, and say I create a is equal to mread. And here I'll take plant one image. Is there any plant one image? Capital P? No. Let me check whether I'm in my parent directory or not. And yes, we have plant one image. Mread plant one image. Yeah. Okay. Show A. So let me run this one first. So this is my new image. Okay. And I want to see if I apply, like if you can see that in this function, the input is colorful image. RGB stands for like colorful image. And there are two outputs. One is the black and white and the other one is the colorful image. Okay. After removing the noise. So here also I'll store the black and white image in VW and the filtered image FRGB GB, that stands for filtered RGB, is equal to green filter. That is the name of the function which we have just created using MATLAB. And here inside this, I have to pass a RGB image, which in my case, it is A, because in A, I have stored this plant one image, right? So I'll pass here A as an input parameter. So this function will give me two outputs. And out of this, say suppose I want to see black and white image also, and I want to see the filtered RGB image also. Filtered RGB F. Now I'll run this section and let's see what result we are getting. So right now MATLAB is at line number 120. It is doing the pre-processing as per the algorithm. And yes, we can see here. Okay, let me remove this part. Yeah, and again run it so that we can easily see the comparison, not the matrix value. Okay, so here you can see the input image was this. The black and white image is this. The black and white here means complete. Either it will be white or black. There is no grayscale. And the colorful image is this. So you can see here that MATLAB has removed the pot and the background and the color in the leaves, which are not green in color. Okay, so only the green pigment leaf is there. Okay, so this is acting as a filter. Okay, which main objective is to only select the green portion of the leaf. So this is how you can use this technique for image segmentation. Okay, or maybe some noise reduction method for if you are working on the machine learning part. So this technique is essential in that case. Any doubt up to here? Okay. Now we will use this same technique in order for the counting, like how we can use all this image segmentation technique later on in order to count some object. Say I'm interested in counting the number of balls. Okay, so I'll take, say, ball image. Mm, well, I have to be very specific. If I type ball, then it will give me all types of color ball. Okay. Yeah, this one also we can take. Let me check if I take some other. Okay, this one far better. Save images. Okay. B is equal to action vehicle. Uh, can we filter RGB in desired percentage like you did for green? Yes, we can do that also. Sir, an image resize 1000 by 1000 dimension or 1900. Okay. See, in resize command, just resize anything in whatever dimension you have provided. So if I write 1000 by 1000, so it will stretch it, compress it in order to make it 1000 cross 1000. You can make it to 100 or by 100 also, or 50 by 100 also, or 500 by 600 also. Anything, it is left to you. Okay. So it is just the uh, frontal dimension that it is going to control. Okay, so if I say, if I change it to 900 by 900, it will do that also. So 1 minute where we have used, yeah, here, this one part. So here you can see it has that part also. And say if I compress it in a dimension of 200 by 100, okay, that also it can give. So it is just your parameter which you have to set. There's nothing rule that you give only 1000 by 1000 only. Yeah, so you can see here a small image is there, okay, which is superimposed into that dimension. Yeah, you can use RGB also, not a problem, in the same fashion. Okay. Okay, see, now I'll show you how we can use the same thing for in order to count the object or the position of the object. Okay, say A is equal to mread, and this time I take the ball image, this one, and now I'll put semicolon also. So imshow and run this section. So this is my image. Okay, so over this image, if I pass the filter, okay, which is this, I use it as it is, Control C, because the variable name is also same. And now if I run it, in fact, I'll use the entire code only, Control C, Control V. Okay, and now if I run this section, then MATLAB will show me the green portion of the image. So here you can see If I apply the same filter, then it able to extract only the green color balls which are there present in the image, right? Now say I have to do the counting, okay? But in order to count, I have to make sure that the separation should be distinct. Like here I can see that it is somewhat colliding with each other. So MATLAB can treat this as not as individual ball, rather as a dumbbell, okay? So this one I have to make sure, and here also there is a contact case. So in order to count it properly, the balls should be separated, okay, by at least 1 pixel also. So for this, I have to go for a image segmentation. So this one, I'll show you how we can do the image segmentation. So I'll close this app. Yeah. So for image segmentation, again, we will go in MATLAB image processing and computer vision toolbox. And there we are going to select image segmenter, this application. So it will ask you to load the image. So we will load the image from our workspace because we have already run the code, and we know that in the FRGB we have the filtered colored part of that ball, and then we will load the mask. The mask is the black and white portion. Okay. So after doing this, we have to click on the morphology, where in morphology we control the erosion or filling of the voids in the image. So the first operation, like in the operation tab, I'll first select the erosion part. So here, dilate and close mask do the same operation. They used to fill the pixels if there is any opening. Okay. So in close mask, it is good for this part, like which has inside void. Okay. And dilate mask will fill the pixel outside of the boundary. Similarly, open mask will remove the pixel from inside, and erode mask will remove the pixel from the circumference. So here I'll take the erode mask because I have to, and I'll click on the show boundary so that I can see the result also. So I'll keep on increasing the radius of erosion until all the images becomes distinct. Okay, so I'll increase the radius, say 3, 4, 5, this one, furthermore, okay. Yeah, so now I can easily see now all the images are distinct. There is no point of contact, right? So once I have done this, I'll click apply. So the erosion is applied. Now I have to go for close mask. That is not required, but in order that I want to make the image, say it should be in a uniform way. For that I can go and select the dilate. Okay, dilate also we cannot take too much because again it will going to collide. Okay, so we can keep it that way only, no problem. Okay, and apply. And this way I can close the morphology and generate like the similar function what we did for the color case. Okay, and here I will name it as a ball segmenter. So it will take two image, RGB, which is FRGB in our case, and the mask, which is capital BW. And again, it will give us the two image. One is the masked image, okay, and the other one is the black and white. So let's first of all save it before using it. And now I'm going to copy this line of code, come back to this code, and here I'll write it. So the first RGB will be my FRGB, that is filtered RGB. And in place of mask, I have to pass the Control C, the black and white output of the grain filter. Okay. And again, this will give me two images. Okay. So let us see what those images are. So first black and white is black and white, and in the second one, I'll want to see what this image look like. And I'll run this section. Okay, so here it will show the matrix, and after that, it will going to show me the images. Okay, so this one is the output. Okay, and now over this output, I want to perform a counting operation. So for counting, I only require the black and white image, not this colorful image. Okay, so that we can do with the black and white image. So first for counting, I'll show you the documentation, how that exactly works. So that counting we do using the reason prop command. Reason prop command. Yeah, this one. So first I'll go through the documentation so that I'll tell you the different aspect of reason prop command, how we can use this feature in order to get different information. Okay, so basically reason prop, what it does, it covers the area of the pixel which are distinct with each other. Okay, and say suppose the white, like here they have taken one example in which they have written some word, okay, like in thick bold fashion. So it will check for the continuity of the white pixel. Whenever the continuity drops or like the other black pixel appears, okay, so that it will define that this is the boundary of the T and what is the centroid position of that T pixel. So it can calculate the centroid. It can calculate the area of that white pixel patch. Okay, so I'll show you like what are the different properties that we can extract it using reason props. Yeah. So here in this case, it shows that it will give you a table of centroid, which is X and Y coordinate. It will give you the major axis length and the minor axis length, okay, like the width and the height of that patch. And there is one more case where it can give you the area also. Polarity, convex, eccentricity, number. So these are different, yeah, this one, filled area. So with the help of these feature, you can extract different information. Okay, so we will concentrate on what our objective was. So in our objective, we are only interested in calculating the number of balls. Okay, so for that, it says that you have to just use this command like this, and that's all. So here, the table, like this is the new this thing. Let me show you what table is exactly is all about. So here they have taken one image and they have stored it, and they have performed the binary operation with this conditional statement. And table is the output and BW is the binary image. So let's say if I copy this piece of code and paste it here in my code. So what changes I have to make? Okay. Instead of small bw, because my output of this boss segment is stored in capital BW, so this variable name I have to make it should be same. Control V. So this change I have to make. Then I don't require any information about major axis and minor axis because I'm not interested in the total area. Rather, I'm interested in the number of items. Okay. And now I'll run this piece of code and then we can easily see what output it gives and what relevant information we can extract from that output. So right now MATLAB is processing the reason prop function. Okay, so it performed. And here you can see it gives you an entire table. Okay, so this table, the first axis or the first column represents the x-axis of the centroid position of each ball. And the second one is the y coordinate of each ball. Okay, so here if we look at, then the number of centroid is equals to the number of balls. Okay, so if I use this thing, like enum, that is number of element inside stats.centroid, control C, control V. dot centroid. So it should give me the number of elements. Okay. Okay, yeah. So say I give length of this matrix. Yeah. So here you can see it shows the answer 20. So if I count the manually, like how many balls are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first column, then 6 in the bottom part. So 10 here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 10 on the right side, the darker green. So there are 10 lighter green balls and there are 10 darker green balls. So total 20. So here just the count of the centroid gives you an idea that how many number of balls are there. Okay, so if somebody is working on robotics section, they can use the centroid location also in order for instructing the robot to what distance it has to move or stretch its arm in order to pick that object. Okay. Any question up to here? Okay, the question asked by Rajan, can we use Photoshop also? What is the difference? Yeah, you can use Photoshop, you can use any other picture editing or photo editing or video editing software, but all those software won't give you the mathematical aspect. Okay, say suppose in our case, we have created an algorithm that can work automatically and it can capture the image, process it, and gives you on real-time basis that how many objects are there. Okay, see suppose the example which we have discussed in the first half section. Okay, this one. Okay, with the same technique which I just showed you, you can ask MATLAB to give you the count of the number of candles. Okay, like how many green candles appear, how many red candles appear in that trade. Okay, and based upon which you can predict, okay, what will be the occurrence or what will be the probability of a red candle occurrence in the next day or tomorrow. Okay, so all this mathematical computation or logics you cannot write in Photoshop. It is just a graphics editing software. Okay, where you enhance the image, okay, or blend the image, but not perform any engineering application. Okay, yeah, that also we can do. Say suppose let me take a good plant leaf. Okay, say, because as I said, right now whatever algorithm we have created, a simple algorithm, it just count the number of green particles which are separated from each other. Okay, so in order to say all plant image. Okay, say suppose if I take this one, I'll take this one, save image, or 1 minute, much better. Yeah, save image. See here what problem you will face now. There are some leaves which are like superimposed, they are not distinct. So in this algorithm we might face that problem, but let's see what result we are getting if we apply the same algorithm over these images. Okay, and how it going to count. So let's, which image should I take? Somebody's mic is on. Mute. Okay, I'll take this one only. Save image. plant 3. Okay. So I'll add some more code also, like what we have seen in the help section, that in order to see this part, center and radius, Control C. So this will help me in order to plot the reason also, what reason it just extracted. Okay, so I'll just take the code from the documentation part. And this Control C. Yeah, so first I'll run this section. Okay, it says that there is no such thing as diameter. Okay, maybe we have missed this line. Okay, so in order to use this line, I have to include the major and minor axis also. And I'll include these two, Control C. Okay. So sometimes what happen, we have to write some more lines of code, which is not possible in writing in the same line because it will be too lengthy. So we put comma and we put 3 dots. So this 3 dot tells MATLAB that the line is continued, and whatever it reads in the second line, it is the part of the first line only. Okay. Now we'll run the section. So right now it is processing the outer boundary, and here it gives you an idea, okay, like which part it has used for counting. Okay, so now same thing if we do on a leaf. Okay, so here we will just going to change the image with the leaf image. So the leaf image, I guess I have stored it with the plant image. Let's run and see. Okay, so if this it takes, then here it is quite like all leaves are superimposed. So obviously the counting will go wrong here. I won't expect correct this thing. So here you can see how it counts after doing the segmentation. So wherever it found the leaf which are separated, it counted it as a unit. Okay, but because many leaves are superimposed, so there is a kind of a mistake. But what image we have just downloaded, I want to check on that. So its name is plant3.jpg, plant3, and I'll run it. So it is obvious also, like if in our case also, like if there are too many animals hiding one after behind, then it will be a lot difficult for us also to count. But if they are arranged in a particular way, okay, so there we can count it easily. So we have to make an algorithm sufficient enough in order to do that part. Okay, so here it just counts like whatever leaf were having in different area. Okay, like one is going upward, the other is going towards the left and the right. Okay, so this way it is like counting and just come up with a result of 5, which is, let's compare, 1 2 3 4 5. So accidentally it is right, but we know that as per the algorithm it is not counting exact leaf, rather uh, it is doing in the other way. Correct. The same algorithm you can use for trading charts also, the green candle and the red candle. Okay, so far we have covered the image processing aspect also. And now we will move towards the next part, that is how we can import the data from Excel. And for that, we will look into the three methods that how we can do the same thing. Okay. First, create a section breaker, data, import via Excel. So first, let me drop one Excel file into this folder. Okay, there I'm having some data, Control C. And this data, I put it into my working directory. Okay. So how we can read the data from Excel? So say suppose I give the data in store the data into a data variable. So I can read it using the XLS read command. This is the first method. XLS read, and here I have to pass the address of that. Okay, if you have kept into some other drive, say E drive or D drive, then you have to pass C drive, then slash whatever the parent folder name is and the name of the Excel sheet. So right now, because I'm working into my current parent directory, so I just have to pass the file name, which is data.xls. Okay. So this doesn't mean that the same name you keep it as a variable. You can keep any this thing. Okay. And now if I run this section, so you will see the data on the right side once MATLAB reads the entire Excel sheet. Okay, so here you can see that MATLAB is able to read the data and it has 50 cross 50 some elements. Now, let me show some real example in which I have some health data and that we want to read. See, some medical data I'm going to take. Yeah. So this is some medical data, PIDD. These are different body parameters which I want MATLAB to read this information. So I'll copy this one into parent directory, and here I'm going to ask MATLAB to read this file and run this section. So here you can see that it has total 9 column and 768 number of rows. So here 768 represents the observation because it is a kind of a medical data. So it has been taken from 768 patients. Okay. And 9 medical parameter they have calculated and put it into the Excel sheet. So that's how we can import the data using XLS read command. Okay. There is one more method which can extract the same thing, and we will discuss then what is the difference between these two. So say T is equal to, the other command is read table command, read table, and here also you can pass the same. So this is another method through which we can read the any data which is there in Excel, DAT or TXT or whatever. Okay. So right now MATLAB is computing the line number 154. And once it is processed, yeah. So here you can see that the first one output in G is the matrix output. So if you are using XLS read command, then MATLAB creates a matrix and it stores only the number format data into that matrix. But if you are using a read table command, then MATLAB can store integer data also, decimal also, and string data also. But fortunately, in this case, in PID table, we only have numeric data. So that one you cannot say any string because it do not contain any string. But you can see that by default, the table has created the column name, which is var1, var2, which is default column name created by MATLAB. Okay. So I'll show you one example where I can distinguish these two features. Okay. Mm, so say iris, yeah. This is very famous data for flower classification. So this one, I'm going to use it. Iris data, Control C. Okay. So instead of PID, I'll use iris. Control C. And here you can easily see the difference between the two functions, what XLS do and what read table will do. So here in XLS, you can see that XLS read command automatically terminate the character column where we have stored some character or string or categorical data. It just only consider the numeric column data only. Okay, so in G, you can see only there are 150 cross 4 elements. But in the table, we have 150 cross 5. Okay, because it can take a string type data also, a string type, date type, or any other format. So this is the difference between like how you can use uh, or import method in order to import Excel data into MATLAB. You can use XLS read also, and you can use XLS or sorry, read table command also. Now the third method, how you can use it. In the third method, you have to use a MATLAB toolbox, which is called import data. So that is the third method through which you can do the same thing. So if you click on import data, it will open a browser for you in which you can easily select which item you want to import. Select the file and all the data will be imported here. Okay. So now in order to import it to workspace, you have to click on the import section. So here it gives you a luxury, like you can select which column you are interested. Okay. And it also gives you like what is the nature of that column. So this column is number data, the last column is a categorical data. Okay. So say suppose if you want to change, no, it should not be a number, rather it should be a text. So you can do it like changing it here, but I will leave it because okay. So say suppose I'm only interested in the variable 1 and the variable 3, sorry, variable 1, control, variable 3, and the categorical output, only these 3 out of the parent data. So after selecting it, I can go to the import section, click on the import data, and the following variable have been imported into the iris 151 cross 3. So that data has been already imported with the name iris. Okay. So whatever name you keep it here with the same name, it will be imported into your MATLAB workspace. Now, if you go to the MATLAB workspace and if I type iris, then it will show you 3 column data, out of which the first variable and the third one variable and the last categorical data have been imported into a tabular format. So this way also you can import the data. Now any doubt up to here? So please share how to frame equation. What is its optimization value? In this session, we haven't discussed anything about the optimization. Yeah, just I've used curve fitting toolbox, but for optimization, we'll be giving a separate session, like in which we'll be discussing genetic algorithm for optimization and TLBO for optimization, and how we can create a cost value function, objective function, whatever. Okay, so in that session, we will discuss those things. How to import live data like stock market and all these things. Obviously, for to import a live data, it depends like from which server you are importing. Say suppose if you want to import it through a website, so you can use web scraping technique via MATLAB to import the data, or you can use other method also, in which like on the particular interval you will be exporting the file in JSON format or CSV format, and that you can periodically allow MATLAB to read those things. So, or you can just turn on the MATLAB and it will do the real-time screen capturing, doing the image processing, and will be taking the decision. In that also you can do it. Okay, so there is again lot of method in which you can do it. See, first of all, you have to understand that nobody gives you a real-time data of stocks. Okay, so most of the site which you will see, they will only show you the data, but no site gives you a real-time data on a minute or a second basis. Yeah, there are sites which give you data free of cost, but on daily basis, and that data they give you on in a Excel format or JSON format. Okay, but if you want to do something on real-time basis, then better I will recommend go for image processing, because in case of image processing, you just have to write one script in MATLAB and it will keep on looking at your screen, whatever is happening. Like you just have to turn on the stock market application on your screen and it will be doing the computation over that screen only. In that way you can do it. To convert column data into row data, you just apply a transpose, because imagine all these things is working as a kind of a matrix only. Okay, so if it is a numeric thing, okay, say suppose in case of here G, so what I will do here, I'll write G is equal to G transpose, that's all, and I'll run this section. So the column becomes row and row becomes column. So now here you can see, now it has 150 number of columns and 4 number of rows only, which earlier it has 4 number of distinct columns. So this way you can do it. Okay, for that you have to look it into a screen capturing method in MATLAB. That is, I think it is available in MathWorks site also. You can do it, because again, like if we dive into it, it will take another 1.5 hours. Okay, so for your personal interest, you can look on those topics. Any other doubts from participants? Okay. Um, how to convert column data into row, that is cleared. How to import live data, that is also we have discussed. Optimization, tomorrow we will be discussing. So to store data, okay, yeah. See, again, whatever data you have created, you can store it into XLS file using XLS write command. Okay, like say suppose if I want to store the G transpose, okay, so I can write it as XLS write command, and which thing I want to store. Say I want to store G into, say here first I have to give the name. So say I give the name as new file dot XLS. Then I'll pass the variable I want to store G. Okay. So now what it will do, it will create a new file dot XLS into the parent directory and store the value of the G, like whatever you have did. Okay. And say suppose this time I make it each term square so that a new value will be stored. Okay. And I'll run this section. Okay. So now it is writing that XLS file into the parent directory. So you will see here, there will be no new Excel. Yeah, here you can see a new file Excel has been created. If I double click, then you can see it acquires the square value of each value of G and because we have transposed it, so it has 150 number of column and 4 number of rows. So this way you can store. How to put breakpoint in our program. See, breakpoint and all these things we only use for the, like when we are doing the testing. Okay. So for breakpoint, you just have to click on the line number. That's it. Okay. So say suppose if I want a breakpoint at this step, I'll just click it. It will create a breakpoint there. And if I run this section, the command will stop there until I give it a permission to go for the next step. So here, if I click on the next step, it will evaluate G square and transpose term. Okay, so like that, we can do it. Okay, so now it has calculated the G part and now it is stopped at line number 154. So after that, we can again click on the continue or step and it will carry forward. Or rest, if you are talking about some loop kind of a thing, then you just have to use break keyword there in order to quit the program. In image processing, how to tell to identify specific objects from the image without color reference, rather using another image reference. In image processing, how to tell to identify specific object from the image without color reference. Okay, it is something that you are asking somebody to fulfill your wish. Okay, you know that in the old stories also, when some, like before some this thing, there were old stories about god and devils. The devil used to pray for the god to get a good wishes. Okay, the god appears and the god has to ask what the devil wishes. Okay, until and unless you don't tell somebody what is your need and what is your requirement, even god can also not do anything. Okay, so it is just a simple program. So without giving any reference, no program can understand you like what exactly is your objective. So you have to tell it like what is your target. Okay, by giving some reference to it, that see, I want a green color, but MATLAB don't understand what green is exactly all about. So you have to tell it that see, green look like this. Maybe in your term you are more interested in the lighter green rather than darker green. So that's why it requires a little bit input from you. Once you give that input, MATLAB can create the entire algorithm for you. Okay. So whatever another image we are passing, it is just for validating our view or make it understand that this is what we are looking for. Okay. We have 100 rows and single column in XLS file. I want to change the 100th row to the first row and 19th. Yeah, that also you can easily do using the ascend and the sort command. Okay. Or you just write one algorithm or the for loop in which you will start counting from the first, and in the other you will be writing from the end. So that one you can easily do with the loop command also. So just try it. If you face any problem, you can when we were taking the session, you can ask Meena ma'am to allow you to share your screen, and I'll tell you what mistake you are doing in order to correct your code.
Yes, yes. Awesome.
I want to copy in first line single column just like 147258369. To copy in single first one column just like, okay, okay. Yeah, this is also you can do. It is very simple thing. Say suppose I take, because it is simple, so I'm taking this thing in kind of example. Okay, so your problem is like this one. If I apply a section breaker here, so you want to vectorize this information basically. That is your objective, I guess. So you can easily do it by using the resize command, not resize, just resize. Okay, so what I will do, I'll say resize A into a 1 cross 1 cross 9 dimension. Okay. And I'll take the transpose of A so that it will do the way you want and run this section. Oh, sorry, it is not resize, it's the reshape command. Yeah. So here it did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. And if you want it to do into the vertical session, then you can take the transpose of this and it will do in that fashion. Okay.
Such an interactive section, and I'd so many times I चाहती हूँ कि please mute yourself, and इतना interactive section में आवाज आ रही है, please. It's again my request to all of you, please. Hello. Yeah, carry on, sir.
Yeah. So apart from it, anybody else having any other doubt? Okay, session 2, like this day session also I've shared on the same drive link, which I've shared you like yesterday, and I've shared with Meena ma'am also. So she will also
Yes.
share the same link. So you just have to go inside the folder and you have to download it inside day 2 folder. So from there you can download it.
Yes, yes. Already sent.
Okay, ma'am.
Already sent. Yeah, yeah, already sent. So any queries? Participant, any queries, any questions?
Ma'am, I've sent you my WhatsApp number. You can add me in that group.
Okay, okay. I have already sent the Google Drive link on the WhatsApp, all WhatsApp number, all the participant please. I have already sent the
Okay. Yeah,
Google Drive
the
link.
first
Already
day,
sent.
second half
They,
recording is in
yeah,
cloud. So you will get only after like 1st August, right?
after lockdown, I have already informed many times.
Correct.
It's the very the inconvenience. Huh?
Yeah. See, MATLAB 2016, maybe you don't find live editor. So that's why I ask everyone. I have shared the link also from where you can download MATLAB 2020. Because live editor is a feature which came after 2017, I guess. So once again, I tell you, you just have to go into getintopcsite.com. Okay, and some participant asked like my website is down, so I have activated the website. You can visit the website also now. Okay, so again, I'll put that link. From here, you have to download MATLAB 2020. So getintopc.com, just go and visit this site, type in the search box MATLAB 2020 or MATLAB, and you will see, yeah, it's a 20 GB software, correct? Because it has a lot, many function compared to whatever is there in MATLAB 2018. So it is more robust and more efficient. No, if you get the software from Get Into PC, you won't face any limitation access problem. It is a full access. Yeah, correct. For the learning thing, I'll also recommend go better for the full version, which I have sent you the link. It contains the full version because at the end, our goal is only to increase our intellectual this thing knowledge. So for that, better use the full version software rather than some limited version.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. So today's
Yeah.
session is
Thank
over
you.
now. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jayamangal. That was very informative, very interesting. And thank you everyone for joining us. Hope this session would have been very beneficial for all of you. And tomorrow's session will start at 11 a.m. So see you all tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
So, yeah, ma'am. I'll now stop the sharing part, and
Yes.
I'll share this in script on the WhatsApp group only. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Send me a Google Drive link for this session.
Yeah, ma'am. It is same link. Just we have to go inside
Same
that
link.
folder, and
Okay.
in day 2
It's
you
a
can.
day-wise.
Yeah,
Okay. It's a
inside that.
day-wise link.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, I've created SRT Bhopal as a parent directory there, which link I've
Okay.
shared. Inside that directory, you will find all video in daily wise. So day 1,
Okay.
first half video I have, and day 2, both video I have. So I have uploaded in the first half video, and now I'm going to upload the second half video in that.
Yeah. So there's no problem. No? That
Yeah,
every
correct,
day
correct.
the
No
link was,
problem. Every
yeah,
day
it's
you
a
have to
very,
use the same link, correct?
yeah, it's very easy for everyone. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Jamingal, again. Thank you all.